Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I am your humble French tarot reader slash deck goblin Marine, and today I thought we could do a fun exercise together of revisiting my older favorite tarot decks, favorite oracle decks. I wanted to go back in time, revisit my yearly favorites from past videos of previous year, and having a look if these decks, these tarot and oracle decks, still were favorites of mine, if they managed to continue to remain in my old star decks, if they remain favorite, or if with the change of my taste, potentially change in my tarot practice, and with newer decks joining my collection, because God knows I definitely accumulated a lot more decks over the years. These decks potentially no longer were favorites of mine. So it's an exercise I encourage you to try for yourself. I think it's fun to look back and seeing if your tastes have changed, if your tarot practice has changed, if your collection has changed. Maybe you don't even have decks that used to be your favorites anymore. If you have a way of going back and checking what were your favorites of previous years, and if you want to compare, do this exercise alongside with me. I thought it could be fun. For me, the way that I did that, going back to my baby YouTuber days, and I went back and I watched my ranking videos of like my favorite decks of the year for 2020, 2021, and 2022. Let me tell you, rewatching older videos is so cringe, but for you guys, I did it. I took one for the team. But yeah, it's kind of weird to go back and watch your baby YouTuber's video. Bless this version of me, you know, she was a bit shy, but she still showed up. And so I rewatched those older videos, selected all the decks that I mentioned in those older videos as favorites. And today we're gonna go through all these older favorites from 2020, 2021, and 2022. And we're gonna see if these still are favorites for me or not. To do that, I have created a very scientific, very strict, very serious ranking process, because we know I'm very scientific, I'm very strict, and I'm very serious. So for the official deck goblin ranking process, also known as DRK, we are doing a ranking based on emojis. Like I said, very serious, very strict. The first tier, first category will be what I've called God tier. These are decks I would rank 100 out of 10. I can't live without them. They're my all-time faves. This is really God tier in my collection. Self-explanatory, you get it. Second tier is what I've called great tier, by using the little okay emoji. In the great tier, I will put decks that are reliable. They are still bringing something unique. They're potentially not speaking to my soul as much as my God tier, but they're still really, really great, as per the name suggests. My third tier, with the little smiley emoji, is what I've called good tier. Good tier, it's good. I still use them, I still read with them. Potentially I have other options in my collection that can replace them. I could live without them, but they're still good. And the last category for this video is the little thinking emoji, and for this one is my okay tier. It's okay. Like, meaning this deck is okay. Potentially, it's not my favorite anymore. It's not a bad deck, but maybe it's not for me anymore. It's not my go-to anymore. Potentially, my okay tier could even be rehomed. We'll see if there's any decks that end up in this category. But that's my ranking process. God tier, great tier, good tier, and it's okay tier. And that's what we're going to be doing today, revisiting old favorites. I will put in the description box all the names of the decks I'm sharing with you today. Some of them might be out of print because they're older decks, so I might not be able to find links for everything, but I'll do my best. I will also put in the description box links to my other channel, which is a tarot reading channel, the Waves of Your Soul readings, where I put all of these decks to good use and read the cards for you guys. You will find my Instagram page if you want to hang out. I'm always either on Instagram or on YouTube right now. We'll put the links to my older ranking videos. Please be kind, you guys. It's quite cringy. I mean, you know, it's another time, but it's still fun to go back. If you're curious, I will still leave the original video down below if you want to go back and have a little giggle at baby YouTuber me. So without further ado, let's get into this, revisiting old favorites, chaotic deck goblin style. Let's go. I'm gonna start by looking at my 2020 favorites, which was actually the first ranking video I did on my channel back in 2020 when I started my channel. At the end of the year, I did a top 5 favorite tarot and oracle decks. So for 2020, there was 5 in total tarot and oracle decks I shared in that older video, and we're gonna be looking at them and tier ranking them. So let's start with the Jonas Ayers 5th edition, which was part of this 2020 video, part of my favorites back then. This is an indie deck by Jonas Ayers, and this is a deck that I still really enjoy. As you can see, this is in this very specific color palette. This is a deck that is currently out of print, and this edition is no longer available, but Jonas Ayers often re-releases versions of her decks. Change color, change size, but she does often reprint versions of her decks in different formats and everything. So if you want a version of this Jonas Ayers tarot, I encourage you to follow her on Instagram and subscribe to her newsletter, as you'll be alerted to future editions of this deck. This is definitely a deck I still really enjoy, and it's very unique. Is this God tier? No, because for me this doesn't surpass her other deck, which is a Stunning Tarot, which is, if you guys watch my videos, you might know, one of my favorite tarot decks ever. This, however, is still great. For me, great tier. I would put this in great tier because this is definitely very unique, brings something different to my collection. It's a little bit hippish, it's very botanical inspired, it's got gorgeous medieval inspiration, beautiful art style. I really enjoy this. It brings like something different to my collection. I still enjoy using this. For me, great tier for the Jonas Ayers tarot. Gorgeous deck, giving me those botanical feelings, and yeah, I really enjoy this one. So that's first one for 2020, great year. In my 2020 favorites, I also mentioned the Dark Goddess Tarot. You guys, this I can tell you straight away, Dark Goddess Tarot, my god, god tier. God tier straight away. This is an absolutely fantastic tarot deck. It's mass market. It comes with a fantastic guidebook. It is goddess inspired. Each of the cards represents a different goddess from different cultures, different religion, different mythologies. The guidebook that comes with this is fantastic, so great. One of the best mass market decks out there, in my opinion. Honestly, this is one of my favorite decks ever, I think, for working with the divine feminine, specifically the dark goddess aspect. You know, we have here goddesses that are a little bit different to what you usually see in your other goddess decks, and the guidebook is so fantastic that it really sets this apart from other tarot decks. The fact that it's mass market is so great. It used to be indie, but it's been picked up mass market, and yeah, this is a deck I use pretty much every new moon ever since I've gotten this, so 5 years now. I mean, I might even had this back in 2019, but I started doing videos in 2020. So regardless, this is still a favorite. It's absolutely god tier for me, 100 out of 10. If you guys are inclined to working with the divine feminine, you want a mass market deck, you want something with beautiful writing, and you want lots of options from lots of different cultures, this is amazing. Dark Goddess Tarot, absolutely god tier. Okay, I'm happy. So far, we have one great tier and one god tier, so we're not doing too bad. But I have a feeling things could go downhill from now on. Let's continue. Let's talk about the Neo Rider Tarot. Okay, this is gonna be a struggle because this I put as my favorite in 2020, but now this is definitely not a favorite deck. I have other RWS deck that I much prefer. This is an RWS that is in this very like plasticky cardstock, which at the time I thought was amazing and genius. And look, the box is very nice. Okay, the box is very nice. The colors of this are very nice. It's an RWS, but it's got beautiful coloring. It's very shiny and it's got beautiful purples, as we can see. But this is, like I was saying, it's a plastic cardstock. At the time, I thought it was genius because I was taking this with me when I was going on walks, when I was like sitting outside, when I was going on hikes, whatever. And it was great to be able to carry this everywhere and not care if it would get damaged. I can take this on the beach, doesn't matter, it won't get wet because it's plastic. However, now I'm realizing it's something I don't really use. I don't really use this deck. It's very slippery. It literally, look, it won't even stand up, which is now something that really bothers me. It's a little bit of a struggle to shuffle because the fact that it's plasticky feels quite heavy in my hands, and now that I have more pain in my arms and everything, sometimes that's a struggle. And I have other RWS decks that I much prefer, like for example the Moonbaby Tarot, for example the JK Waite Tarot. I can name you at least 5 RWS that I prefer than this. So this is definitely not a no favorite anymore. Where would I put this? I think this is okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's definitely a workable deck. I mean, it's an RWS, but I don't think it's not a go-to anymore, and it's just not for me, I don't think, anymore. Would I get rid of this? Potentially. I mean, maybe for taking videos, like photos outside and stuff, it's still one I could take with me and revisit. I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of it, but it's definitely not something that, you know, makes my heart feel any kind of way anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna think about this one, see if I want to keep it or pass it along. Could be a great deck to give to someone who want to start learning tarot, because literally it's an RWS and they can take it everywhere because it won't get damaged. But yeah, I think this one is literally just okay tier, the first okay tier out of my favorites. We're gonna see if there'll be more, but yeah. Continuing with my 2020 favorites, we have the Holy Spectrum Tarot, which I can tell you already, God tier, you guys. This is God tier. This is one of the best tarot decks I own in my tarot collection. I will never be able to part with this because it's so very special. I have the first edition. This has been through numerous editions since. It's an indie deck by Chase Voorhees, I think the name is. I can't remember. Yeah, Chase Voorhees, who is the partner to Lindsay from Wild... Oh my god, what is the name? Wild Soul Tarot, I think. At the time in 2020, I did one of Lindsay's tarot course, Wild Soul Tarot, which was very intense, few months long tarot training, and I loved it. And she uses her partner's deck in her course at the time, and so, you know, this is very aligned with her vision, which is aligned with my vision of tarot as well, to a certain extent, obviously, but I really enjoyed her teachings. They were very influential in my way of reading tarot, and so because this is very influenced by her teaching, being created by her partner, this is a deck that very much speaks to me as well. I love the different colors, I love the art style, I love the choices for the cards. Like I said, this is the first edition, but there's now a few editions out there. I think some of the cards have been changed even in recent editions. This is a deck that is super great for reading for other people, for career reading is great, day-to-day readings, love readings, whatever you want. This is amazing. It does it all. Very workhorse deck for me. I use this a lot. So for me, definitely still God tier. That's Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. Super cool indie deck that still very much resonates with me. This is a workhorse. It's one I can just take out of the box and have great reading with. It's one I really rely on. So no brainer. This is God tier for me. The last deck that was part of my 2020 favorites is this one. This one is going to be a bit of a struggle for me. The Tarot de Marseille. Wait, I don't know where to put this. This is a mass market deck by Emmanuel Ligier and Alice Laverty. It's a French mass market deck. It's really nice. It's really nice. I like this. Is this a deck I use all the time? No. So is this God tier? No, it's not God tier for me. Is this great tier? I don't know. I don't know if it's great tier or if it's like good tier. You know, because again, not that this is a bad deck, because this is very gorgeous. It's actually a, as the name suggests, Tarot de Marseille. Wait, we have majors that are resembling Marseille style and minors that are, here are the backs by the way, minors that are resembling Rider-Waite-Smith style. The effort of research that was put behind this deck is great. There was all the symbolism comes from original medieval grimoires that were taken from the National French Library. So everything behind it, the research, the historical elements, the artwork, the colors, wonderful. However, I have other now kind of hybrid decks that I think prefer, because now I have the one from Artisan Tarot, which is called the Rider Marseille, I think it's called, which is great. And it's actually one that I've used constantly when I've been wanting this kind of hybrid. It's kind of surpassed this one. However, I don't want to get rid of this because this is great. It's a French creation and I still really enjoy it. It's just not my go-to. So is this good tier or is this great tier? I think this might be good tier, you guys. Just because, like I said, there is another deck that I prefer in my collection that gives similar vibe. This is still one I like, I want to keep, but remember when I said my definition for good tier is that I still use them, I still read with them, but I have other options in my collection that can replace them, meaning that I could live without them. It's good, I still read with it, I still enjoy it, but I have other decks that give me something like this. Whereas I think great tier is supposed to be something unique, right? So this is good tier, I think. But wonderful deck, really good reader. I know this is a favorite among many, even for a lot of you guys who are not French speakers, you really enjoy this one for good reason. It's a really nice one if you like very much this medieval style, if you like the mix of having majors that are very Marseille inspired with minors that are more RWS. This is a wonderful option. Let's move on to 2021 favorites. For 2021, I have still 5 in total, 5 Tarot and Oracle decks. And then for 2022, we are starting to move on to 5 Tarot and 5 Oracle. For 2021, there were still not that many. So let's talk about the first one on the list, which is the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle. This is kind of a hybrid. You can use it both as a Tarot and an Oracle. This is an indie deck by Acta Spaman. God tier. God tier. There is no question there. I love this so much. This is a very special deck in my collection. Look at how this is beloved. Like, look, the box is falling apart. Ever since 2021, it's a go-to. So absolutely God tier deck. Here are the back. I have always meant to do the edges and then I always forget. I don't know why. I need to fix that. But yeah, this is a very cool deck for me. It has a specific use in the sense that I use it mostly as an oracle more so than a tarot, because tarot-wise, it's related to toss, which is not my preferred system. I prefer to use it as an oracle with these particular key phrases on the card. I love the fact that every single card depicts this little being, and this is just a deck, I don't know, I feel seen when I use it, I feel supported, I feel understood. It just reads wonderfully for me. The amount of botanical in this just make me attach this also to nature, which is a big part of my spirituality. This gives me Persephone vibe, which is a daily energy archetype I really enjoy working with. So yeah, this is God tier. Still definitely a huge favorite. I can't live without this. This is just very, very, very safe in my collection. Definitely 100 out of 10. We love this one so much. And now this one always makes me think of my lovely friend Cassandra from A Rayful in Time, because I know she loves this one as well. So that's also a cute little deck twinning we have together, and that makes me happy. Looking at my 2021 pile, the other deck I know straight away is gonna be God tier is this one, the Lubanco Tarot by Emily Lubanco. Oh my god, you guys, this another one, part of my all-time favorite decks. I mean, this is probably top 3 if we're talking about favorite. This is definitely like the top. I think we would, at this moment in time, probably I would have to say the Stunning Tarot, the Joe Sparrow, and the Lubanco are in my top 3, although, you know, that can change, but this is definitely, yeah, I feel very bonded with this one. This, I have great news, is gonna be released mass market. It was an indie deck. I backed this on Kickstarter. It was out of print for ages. It was going for crazy prices, and then I found out that it had been picked up mass market. So you guys are gonna be able to purchase this year, and I'm very happy for you because everyone deserves this gorgeousness in their life. Here are the backs. Like I said, this is the indie version. I don't know what the mass market version is gonna look like, but honestly, I'm just so happy you guys will be able to enjoy some form of this deck because it's amazing. It's, like I said, one of my all-time favorites. This is God tier, 100 out of 10. Can't live with that. Want to get buried with this so I can read tarot for the ghosties. It's profound, it's deep, it's powerful, it has a point of view. It's definitely got some fantasy inspiration, which, you know, I love. Some of the cards are very punchy and bold, and they will make you think. Some of them are full of hope and some of them are full of despair, and I love this balance. It makes you feel like you're peeking through the veil, entering a new world. This is just so great. I love this so much. Like, I can't tell you how much I love this. Like I said, it's probably top 3 favorite decks, and I've got over 300 decks by now. You know, if I say something is in my top 3, it means a lot. Yeah, this is so special in my book. I'm so happy you guys are going to be able to get your hands on this year. Very excited that this is released mass market because everyone deserves this gorgeousness. Look at this 9 of Pentacles. So great. Yeah, God tier, the Lubanco Tarot, absolutely amazing tarot deck. I've got no words. I need to move on because we have a lot of decks to cover, but come on. This is genius. When this comes out mass market, this will be one of the best mass market decks you can get, you guys. Honestly, don't miss out. I highly recommend this. So beautiful. Let's continue. Now we're entering dangerous territory because this is where I'm like, 2021 was a weird year. My taste have changed in some ways, and in some ways they've not. Like, for example, the Lumenko I just told you is still in my all-time faves. However, another part of my 2021 favorite is this one, the Good Karma Tarot. And I'm gonna be honest, this is a deck I've not really used in like at least a year. This is definitely no longer a favorite. Here are the backs. I edged mine in orange. This is a mass market deck. Is this a bad deck? Absolutely not. This is so cute. It's an RWS rendition. It's a modern RWS, diverse. It's cute. So there is nothing wrong with this. And at the time when I was back in 2021, it was one of the rare decks I could get my hands on mass market that had some diversity in it, which was why I love this so much, because I was like, finally, we're seeing different skin tones, different body types. I really was looking for that back then. We didn't have that many options. So this is why it was such a favorite. Now, thankfully, we have a lot more options, a lot more representations in decks, mass market indie, thank God, right? And so this has definitely fallen through the cracks. Like I said, I don't think I've used this in 2024 at all. I want to keep this because this is a great beginner deck, and because I'm planning on doing a video series this year around the best decks for beginners, this would definitely be part of my recommendations. It's a great deck for learning. It's a great deck for beginner. So as part of like my channel for different videos I want to make, I'm keeping this. In terms of using this, this is not something I use a ton of. I could pick this up and read with this fine. It's really not bad at all, and I should at least use this in pick a card readings because it's very cute, very easy to read. For my own personal use, I have other decks now that are just a little bit more exciting. I think it's okay. It's okay tier. It's like, maybe it's not for me anymore, or maybe it's not my go-to anymore. There is still a use for it in terms of me being a tarot person on YouTube and talking about decks and stuff, in the sense of I want to recommend this to beginners and everything. So for now I'm gonna keep it, but I could see myself rehoming it eventually, especially if I have someone in my life who's like, hey, I want to learn tarot, can you recommend a deck? I would be happy to gift that to them eventually, because it's a great deck for learning. So I think I'm gonna put this in It's Okay. It's a good deck, it's a functional deck, it's a practical deck. It's just not one that excites me that much anymore. Continuing with my 2021 favorite, let's talk about the Star Spinner Tarot. I have the French version, so in French it's called Le Tarot des Royaumes Célestes. This is a mass market deck in French and in English, and it's a fairy tale inspired deck, which you guys know is a huge theme that I love. I have a whole fairy tale mini collection in my on my tarot shelves. I love fairy tales mixed with tarot. I really enjoy it. This, again, was one of the few decks you could get back then that had some queer representation, which I loved because I have a lot of queer friends. Of course, wanted to be able to use decks for them that had representation of their own preferences. So this is why at the time I loved this deck so much, because we had different lovers representing different facets, different like preferences and stuff. And on top of that, it's a very gorgeous deck. And there you go. Look, one of the reasons why I really appreciated this deck at the time and still do now is for the different lovers giving us different representation. Is this god tier? No, it's not god tier for me. It's not part of my all-time favorites. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not a deck I use constantly. I think for me, if I'm gonna be honest, this is good tier, meaning that I still use this. I actually use this quite a lot in December because I was doing fairy tale themed reading. So I use this quite a bit. You will have seen this. I really enjoyed using it actually at the time. So it's very practical deck. It reads really well. I love the fairy tale inspiration there. For me, I think good tier. I still use this. I still read with this, but other fairy tale decks that I enjoy that are just a little bit more favorites. For example, the Land of Stories Tarot by Vermilion Collection, which is a deck I prefer over this one if I had to compare. So this is why it doesn't quite make great tier for me, because I have other fairy tales that I prefer over this one, but it's still not one I want to get rid of. It's still one I really enjoy using. I love, like I said, the different representations, the diversity, the inclusion we have here. I love the fairy tale inspiration. The artwork is so cute. I love the fact that this is mass market, so it's readily available. Definitely good tier. Like, this is good if you want a fairy tale deck that is affordable, that is inclusive, and that's beautiful. I recommend this one. Continuing in my 2021 favorites, we have the Healing Waves Tarot. This is now out of print. It was an Indiegogo campaign I backed back in 2021. It's an ocean themed deck, and as it might surprise you, I think a lot of you will think this is god tier for me, and yet it's not. Was created with watercolor, and actually the watercolor was mixed with ocean water, which is so cool. It gives this deck a very beautiful, healing, kind energy. And whilst this is not a deck that I use constantly, in the sense that there's another water theme deck that for me is better, so this is not god tier. There's definitely one you'll see actually in my 2022 favorite, a water theme deck that is surpassing this. I think this is still great tier, right? Great tier. They're reliable. They bring something unique. Does it actually? No, it doesn't bring something unique to my collection because I have other water theme deck. So maybe this is good tier, you guys. Ooh. See, this is where it gets tricky, because great tier, I've said in my description, it has to be reliable, it has to be that I still use them, but it has to be unique. And this is not unique. It's not my only water theme deck that I own, but it's gorgeous and it's very soothing and healing. But there's another deck I prefer over this one to give me water energy. So, I don't know. Actually, you guys, you know what? I'm gonna be harsh. This is gonna go into good tier. This is still good. I still read with it, but I have other options that can give me something similar. I would never part with it though, because it's like super hard to get now, and I still really enjoy using this. I know if I got rid of it, I would definitely regret it. This does bring me healing and joy when I need it. It's just that there's another one that's even a little bit more there for me lately. But that's also like how, things change, because I could see myself going back to this year actually. So maybe this could go back to great tier if I pick it back up this year and work with it again more so intensively over the other deck we'll talk about in a little bit that is also water themed. For now, this is tough. This is tough, but I think for now, this has to be good tier. I know this is harsh because it's gorgeous, but at the time of me filming, it's not my favorite water themed deck. So yeah, good tier. Good tier for Healing Waves Tarot. I do love the Major Arcana. I love the Earth Suit. The one I don't love so much is that there's a lot of jellyfishes. Jellyfishes, I don't know how you say that. But too many jellyfish for my liking. However, this is a very beautiful deck. Very gorgeous, and like I said, I would never part with this one because I know I'd regret it. I still really enjoy using this. Good tier for the Healing Waves Tarot. Wow, I'm shocked. Honestly, I thought this was gonna be great tier, but now looking at it again with you guys, I'm like, I have to be honest. I said I would be honest and make like decisive decisions. So here we go. Finally, the last one of my 2021 favorite is the Gift of Time Tarot. So this is an indie deck. It's a photographic deck by, who is this by? This is by Consciousness Rising. It was created by a photographer who has won numerous awards for their photography. And you know what? This is very unique in my collection. So already I can tell you straight away, I think great tier. Great tier because it's very unique and it's still a deck I really enjoy, and that I think it brings something very different and unique to my collection. So this is not god tier in the sense that it's not part of my absolute all-time favorites. Like if I had to get rid of this, for some reason or another, I would survive. It's not like that I can't live without it, but it's still great. It's beautiful. I love the representations there. I love the photography. I love the stories that are written in the guidebook. The creator tells you about each person represented, what is their life story. It's just joyful. It's gorgeous, and it makes me very emotional, this deck. It's a deck for specific work, mostly connecting to my guides or for journaling, because I think these people are just so, I don't know, it's like, I can't quite put my fingers on it, but this feels very special somehow and feels very like rooted in human nature, and it gives you hope, this deck, which is why I really appreciate it. So for me, absolutely, this is great, gorgeous. I don't want to part with it. Like I said, the guidebook is beautiful, and it has one of my favorite sun cards ever. I love that sun card. I don't know if we've passed it. It's a little boy who is just so happy. Yeah, I love it so much. I need to find it, you guys, because it's too good. I need to share it. Where are you? It's gonna be the last card, isn't it? of course. Or maybe we've passed it. No, here it is. Look at this sun card. It's so cute. I don't know, makes me so happy and just, yeah, so sweet. So that's the Gift of Life Tarot, great tier. Let's move on to my 2022 favorites. Let's start with Oracle, and let's start with the Energy Archaeology Oracle, which is a indie deck by Ashley Stinson. This is a deck that is rooted in the body, specifically bones, so it's really cool and unique in my collection. For that reason, I think automatically I'm thinking I want to put it in great tier, meaning that it's not quite part of my god tier, it's not quite part of my like absolute all-time favorites, can't live with that, but this is still really great. I would definitely miss this if I didn't have it. And for specifically working with connecting with my body, chronic pain and chronic illness, this has been very valuable tool. Specifically the guidebook is very great, beautifully written. You have journaling prompts, you have affirmation. This is a fantastic tool. I would miss it if I didn't have this. Just been a reliable workhorse of a deck for me, for my own practice, my own connection to my body, my own relationship to my body, which is tumultuous, you know, me living with dynamic disability. That's gonna create obviously some challenges, and this deck helps me deal with those, so it's really great. It's just not quite god tier because it's not one I use constantly because of the nature of the work I do with this, which is very related to chronic pain, chronic illness, dealing with that, this dynamic disability, all of that. It's intense. It's not a deck I use every day, right? And for that reason, it's not god tier, because for me god tier is like I literally want to use this all the time. I don't want to put them down. This not quite, so I'm gonna put this in great tier. Still amazing deck if you guys are looking for a very well constructed, well thought out oracle deck to help you come back to your body. Something with a great guidebook. Highly recommend this one, the Energy Archaeology Oracle. In the Oracle deck, let's continue. L'Oracle des Dauphins et des Baleines. This is a French mass market deck by Frédéric Pichard and Gemma Capdevila. This, great tier. I don't have anything bad to say about this. I love this deck. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite French mass market decks that you can get. It's on a theme that I love, literally the Oracle of Whales and dolphins. You know that's my jam, you guys. I live on a tropical island. We have whales, we have dolphins. Look at those backs. This is awesome. This is so great. This is not quite god tier again because if I'm gonna be honest, it's not a deck I use all the time. I have to be strict, right? I have to be strict. God tier has to be very special. So it's not god tier, but it's great tier. Because this, look at this gorgeous art style. So good. And it goes beautifully with the Healing Waves Tarot. It goes beautifully with all of my mermaid decks. It goes beautifully with the Gentle Tarot. It's so gorgeous. I love this so much because, like I said, I live on a tropical island. So we have a lot of these animals where I live. The artwork is stunning. The guidebook is really well written for each of the cards. You have a little bit about all the different species represented. You have a guidance message and you have a mantra. You have some meditations as well that you can listen to that use sounds from whales and stuff, which are so cool. And yeah, it's all in French obviously, but honestly one of the best French mass market decks out there. I think it's gorgeous. I know quite a few of you got this after you saw it on my channel and you really enjoy it, and for that I'm really happy because this is gorgeous. It deserves to be celebrated and seen. So for me, definitely great tier. I don't want to part with this. I really still enjoy it. For me, it's one I love to use, specifically July, August, September, because those are the months where we have humpback whales coming to the shores of Reunion. Continuing with my oracle decks from 2022, we have the Or et Ombre Oracle, another French mass market deck, literally the Oracle of Gold and Shadows. It's an alchemical and lunar oracle. God tier, you guys. This is one of my favorite oracles of all time. Definitely God tier for me. I love the guidebook so much. It's one of the best guidebook in terms of French mass market decks that you can get. I love the artwork. I love the themes, which are like both around the moon cycles as well as alchemy. I love the art style, which is very unique and cool. The writing in the guidebooks are very profound. It's one I use all the time for new moon and full moon reading. I've used this constantly pretty much every single month ever since I've gotten this. And so yeah, this is very safe in my collection. Absolutely god tier for me, specifically for the guidebook, which is written in a way that's very empowering, spiritual, deep, profound, kind of giving the same vibe as the Dark Goddess Tarot, obviously. All in French, so if you want to translate it, you've got quite a lot to do, especially because it's very chunky. I will share it with you. This is a very chunky guidebook. Like for each of the card, you have 3-4 pages, and the writing is quite alchemical and profound and esoteric, so not the easiest to translate. That being said, it's worth it in my opinion because it's really, really beautiful. You also have some key phrases at the end and just such a well-constructed deck. You have the alchemical phases, you have the different moons, you have alchemical animals. It's just, there's so much you can get into with this one. And it's one of my all-time favorites. I use this every full moon and new moon pretty much, so definitely God tier. The last oracle deck from 2022 that was part of my favorite is the Poesis Oracle, another French mass market deck, although you guys can get this indie in English. So in French it's mass market, in English it's indie. I don't know if it will ever be published mass market in English. I hope so. It would be great. If you don't want to get the indie version in English, you can get the French version mass market. It might be cheaper, especially because the way this is constructed is that every card, instead of being linked to a message, is linked to a poem, as the name suggests, the Poesis Oracle. So instead of having messages, you have poems for each of the cards. And in the French version, we have the guidebook with every single one of the poems, but for you guys, you can find all the poems in English on the website of the creator, on the Poesis website. It has the library of poems, so that's also great. If you want to check it out, if you're not sure if the deck will resonate with you or not, you can go on the website, check out the poems and see if that speaks to you or not. Straight away, I don't have to think about it. For me, God tier, another God tier. So actually, we're doing pretty good. I'm happy to see that at least 2 out of 5 decks from 2022 remain all-time favorites. I think that's pretty good. This is a deck I absolutely love. I use it for myself. I use it in pick a card readings. I use it for client reading. I use it to set intention, to journal, I use it as an oracle deck, as a meditation deck. I use it for everything. I love the poem. The one thing that's not my favorite is the art style, because I like color and I like, maximalism. You guys know that by now. I've grown fond of it now. I've bonded with it regardless. And while it's not my favorite art style, I do find the images very striking and very evocative and poetic, as the name suggests. So this is absolutely a huge fave. I'm so grateful this is available mass market in French. So good for setting an intention, which I like to do. I like to pull a card before reading, read the poem, and that's almost like an incantation for me, a way to set the intention for the reading. Such a good one. It's a workhorse for me. I use this all the time for my personal readings, for everything. So yeah, God tier, absolutely. The Poesis Oracle, one of the best decks you can get. Again, mass market in French. I love this so much. And the people who translated the poems have done a great job. Sometimes when you read poems in the language that they were not written in, but in translated languages, sometimes you lose the magic of the poetry. I really want to commend whoever translated this. They've done a fantastic job, because even in French, the poems are great. So I'm happy to see for 2022, we already have 2 God tiers, but let's move on to tarot deck. I lied, there was one more. I'm just badly organized. There was one little oracle deck hiding with my tarot deck pile. So the last oracle deck for my 2022 favorite is the Unshakable Inner Peace Oracle. This is a mass market English deck. You can tell you guys that back then it was easy for me to get mass market decks in English, because there's quite a lot you've seen and you're gonna see more. And that's when it was book depository days, you guys. I could get great English mass market deck for free shipping on book depository. Those were the days. And this is why for 2020, 2021, 2022, and I think maybe if I go back 2023, I would still see some. There was quite a lot of English mass market deck. And literally, if you go back to my 2024 favorites, I don't think I have barely any English mass market decks in my favorites, because it's been so hard for me to get my hands on them ever since book depository closed down. Although now I've seen that Rare Waves delivers in Reunion, the shipping is not atrocious, so I am planning on picking up a lot more mass market decks this year. I've got a huge list, which I think I'm gonna hit pay on my birthday in March. I think I'm just gonna do one big mass market order, get like all the mass market decks I've been looking at. But it's interesting also to see how, depending on the access of decks as well, how that affects my favorites. Like you can tell, at this point in time, I could get my hands on mass market deck quite a lot easier than later on once the book depository closed. So I thought that's also interesting. But anyway, let's talk about the Unshakable Inner Peace Oracle. This is good, I think. Yeah, good. This is good tier. I don't have to think about this too much. It's still a deck I enjoy using. I use this quite a bit in pick a card readings actually, because here at the back, I like the fact that we have stuff on the cards. So the guidebook is nice, but because you have a message and a question on the card, it's a great deck to clarify or to wrap up a reading, like last message from your guides, last message from your higher self. That's how I like to use this for myself and for pick a card readings. I like the art style. It's beautiful, kind of collage, cosmic vibe. It goes well with all of my cosmic collage decks, like the Star Child, the Moon Child, the Wildlands Tarot. It goes well with the Age of Aquarius Tarot. It goes well with my Rosabelle Tarot. It goes well with my Telesma Tarot. All of my collage decks, this goes really well with. It's not the most unique Oracle deck in my collection, which is why it's not great tier, but it's good, it delivers, it's practical. I don't want to get rid of this. Like I said, it definitely is very handy in my pick a card reading videos because everything is on the card. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go into the guidebook. I love that I can give people a question so they can journal about it if they want. I like to journal with this for myself actually, and even for friends. Sometimes they're like, hey, can you pull a little card for me? This is one I like to use because then they get their message, but they can also do a little bit of work themselves, give them back the agency, which is nice. So this is good. This is good tier for me. Practical, useful, but not unique. I have other decks in my collection that could be used similar to this. Top of my head, like the Divine Nature, for example, the Work Your Light Oracle. There's definitely like a few decks in my collection that give similar vibe. So it's not unique enough to be great tier, but it's still very, very good and practical. So that's gonna go in good tier.
Hello, Editing Marine here. I am so sorry, but I lost all my footage of reviewing my favorite tarot decks from 2022. So you're gonna see them in my conclusion. I'm really sorry I'm gutted, but see some of them in the conclusion. And again, sorry for the inconvenience, but thank you for sticking around and I hope the video is still enjoyable.
So now we've looked at all of my older favorites, I thought we would round up by looking at how many are god tiers, how many are great tiers, how many are good tiers, and how many are okay tiers, to see how I've done and to kind of compare and see overall, is there a majority of decks that are still favorites, or is there a majority of decks that no longer resonate, and have my taste changed that much? So out of 21 decks I've shared with you today, we have only 2 in my okay tier, which is like my worst category of this video, meaning that decks that don't really do it for me anymore, or decks that I would be okay letting go of. So that is good. I'm happy that I only have 2 in the okay tier. I think that's not too bad. The part that surprised me the most is that in my good tier, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a little bit surprising to me because that means that these decks used to be faves, but now they've lost their sparkle a little bit, or they've lost their edge as to what made them really stood out and what made them really great at the time. The reason, looking over this, why these decks kind of fell back a little bit in my rankings, I think. And again, those are very safe. I don't want to get rid of them. I still like them. They're in the good tier. The reason why I think most of these are not higher is because ever since those, whenever I rank them, there's been newer decks that resonate with me more. So I think it's not necessarily that my taste have changed, because we know I still like collage, we know I still like ocean theme, we know I still like fairy tales and historical things and fantasy style, but there's been better decks since that have surpassed these. So really, it's not a sense I'm realizing that my taste have changed so much as there's more options out there, and that makes us lucky to have so many options, but it also means that sometimes older favorites kind of fall back in the rankings a little bit. So 5 decks for good tier. For my great tier, meaning that these are unique decks. They are great. They're still reliable. They're workhorses. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 21 decks stayed as great. I think this is pretty good. I'm very happy with that. I think this is a helpful look at older favorites, looking at the ones that are great, that didn't quite move on to the god tier, because it helps me realize what decks I have that I love, but that lack maybe that extra super special soul connection. That being said, I'm very happy 5 still workhorses, decks that I really enjoy, decks that bring something unique. You know, now I have over 300 decks. The fact that every single one of these still for me brings something special also proves to me that my taste level again haven't changed that much over the years. The choices of decks has changed, my access to decks have changed, my tarot practice may have expanded, but my taste remained quite the same, in the sense that it's quite chaotic and eclectic, but when something clicks, it clicks, right? And this is the proof. But I think the main proof is honestly how many decks are actually part of my god tier, because that's gonna tell us how many of these supposedly older favorites are still huge current favorites 2 years later, 3 years later, 5 years later. Let's have a look. For my god tier, this is my biggest category. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 decks out of my older favorites are still god tiers. That makes me super happy, because it means that out of all of the categories I've done today, the largest one, the one that's the biggest, is the one that represents the best of the best. So I think that's really reassuring to me. It means that even back then, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I still was pretty good at discerning the decks that would speak to me for years to come. So all of these, we have 7 decks. I can't even fit it all on the screen. 7 decks that remain god tier, that remain absolute favorite, that remain decks that I can't see myself without. And that is awesome. It kind of shows me that I, even back in 2020 or 2021, I already knew when a deck would be with me for life. As I can really tell you right now that I don't see any of these decks falling away from my favorites anytime soon. These are here to stay. These are gonna be my god tiers for years to come, and that feels great. So this was definitely a fun exercise. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd love to know if you do this as well. What do you find? What are the results? Are you seeing a lot of favorites that are still god tier? Are you seeing some more middle of the road? Are you seeing a lot of them falling down to just okay or good tier? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video. I'd be happy to do more kind of fun ranking ones like this. I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!